Well, hello and welcome everybody to the New Health Conversation. For the sensors out there, we always assure you that we stay within community guidelines because everything that we're stating is from peer-reviewed medical studies. We don't make any opinions. Everything is in the public domain, so every person has the right. They can go and see the actual medical proof. We don't make claims. We don't make things up. We only rely on medical evidence. We've written 4 best-selling books with some of the top medical doctors in the whole world, and we share only information that can be backed up medically. Nothing is an opinion. It's all safe. It's been vetted and researched by the top people in the world. Wow, a lot of people on here already. So Trisha, Betty, Burritas, Fran, Alan, Bronco. So what we're talking about there, look at that, everyone. That is the cover. I actually have the magazine right here. It's the cover of Women's World. I coached those 2 women. The daughter, who's 57 years old, lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom she's 80 years old. She lost 90 pounds in 9 months. They both kept it off for 2.5 years. There's nothing like this on the planet. And you'll notice right above the magazine cover in blue, the New Health Conversation. It's a free medical website where you can go and see the medical proof behind everything I'm going to share with you. What they went on is not a diet. What they went on was not counting calories. What they went on was not exercise. The researchers who created this took them 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people, first to determine that every diet they ever had anybody go on, almost every person, 2/3 of them gained more weight than they lost, and every person pretty much went back to where they started, the yo-yo effect that you've all heard about. But there's a medical reason now for that the researchers figured out. When you hear this, it's going to shock you, because I'm going to show you some of the before and afters from the people that are in the studies. Let's start first with Kristen. 21.2 pounds, 38.75 inches in 30 days with no exercise. Now look, and it's not a diet, and she wasn't counting calories, okay? I'm going to explain it all to you in just a moment. But first, I want to show you some of the before and afters so you're going to get a feel. There's nothing like this, and I'd love anybody to make a comment. So Laughing67 and Straw Stacker and Melanie and Barbara and Christine and user 349 and Deb and Traveling by Carrie and Cage. Can we get some taps on the screen to get some likes going? Well, assuming you like the content. And I haven't given you much content yet, but I promise that I will. So first, I'm going to just show you 4 before and afters, all the people from these studies. Now, here's the thing you have to understand. Nobody was allowed to exercise. Now, the reason they didn't exercise, I mean, they didn't want them because exercise would have been, then you would have said, oh, they lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, it had nothing to do with dieting, with exercise, with counting calories, none of that. This is revolutionary, brand new ground, and it's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. No other diet, weight loss, exercise, nutrition plan in the world have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, period. It's not up for debate. And I will be sharing with you exactly what she did. Let's look at the second person. Her name is Julie. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the transformation in her body there, if you can see that. I had a consult to have to talk with my doctor. Then it's a go once. Oh, wonderful, Cage the Chameleon. So somebody already had a he, buddy. Regina Lux. Hello. Are you saying he, buddy? You saying hello in a strange way? So we got Health Is, Zenab, Sunshine. We got April Ann. We got Susan Walker. Woo, lots of people. Let's look at a couple more people. Now, this is the daughter of a friend of mine. It's not Photoshopped. Do you think it's the same woman? I'd love for anybody to comment. That's 60 pounds in 3 months. 60 pounds in 3 months. What do you think, everybody? Put it in the chat. I'm almost 3 weeks in a row. Regina, good, wonderful, wonderful. So more viewers. Yeah, can we get some taps on that screen? We got 331 likes. Let's get this thing into 1,000. We want this to spread all around the world. But again, I want to ask everybody, is that the same woman? Yes or no? Give me your opinions. I'm saying, hey, laugh out loud. I got it. Let's see, who else? You're all making me laugh today. That's great, you know. But this is going to get. I wouldn't say it's going to get serious, but I'm going to explain only in medical terms. I'm not going to give you hyperboles. I'm not going to give you a bunch of nonsense, because everything I'm sharing with you is backed up by 10, not 1 or 2 or 3, 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies. Also, this protocol appeared on the cover of Women's World magazine, June 9th, just a week ago. It's the #1 women's magazine in the world. Do you really think you get on the cover of this as this thing was fake or didn't work? Listen to their title, Over 50 Protein Miracle. I'll zoom in for you. Powerful new eating pattern can take off weight faster than anything else you've tried. That's the magazine saying this. Now, why did they say that? Because they have the medical proof to back it up. There's no way they're going to put something on the cover if it's not real. So, I mean, this is really double whammy proof, okay? Now, let me show you the last picture I want to show you is an elderly man. Well, I don't know about elderly, but older man. Where do you see this, everybody? How about 40.8 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days? But the thing that's impressive, look at his lab work. His A1C went from 8.4 to 6.4, triglycerides 242 to 124. That's in 30 days. Look at his stomach. So now let's come back, because I'm sure you're all curious and you want me to get on with it. Tell us. Okay, I'm going to tell you. So what the researchers did who invented this are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. There are no products involved. There's no product. The researchers, they don't have any products to sell. They don't have a company. They're scientists. We don't sell you anything. So what the researchers figured out was really pretty simple. That counting calories is the dumbest thing that anybody ever came up with. I'd love for anybody to put in the chat for me the definition of a calorie. In over a year's time, I've done over hundreds of podcasts. 5 people have ever gotten the answer right. I would say the majority of you are counting calories. Why, when you don't even know what a calorie is? I didn't know what a calorie was 23 years ago, so don't feel bad. So let's talk about what you can do. I'm underweight. I'm finally holding on to healthy weight, gain 5 pounds and holding. Wonderful. My subcutaneous fat layer is filling out, especially in my face. I look a few years younger already. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Definitely noticing a difference. I'm underweight. I'm finally good. It's all good. So let me explain to you what the researchers did. Instead of talking about calories, here's what you all probably didn't know. Your body runs on a minimum amount, not of calories, of nutrition. When you go on a typical diet, what you're doing, you're reducing the amount of food you're consuming. What else you're reducing? Nutrition. When your brain senses not enough nutrition, it freaks out, goes in starvation mode, stops you from burning the fat inside your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. As your body begins to lose lean muscle, the brain reacts by slowing down your metabolism. That's why you lose weight initially on all these diets. Then it slows, the trickle, then you plateau, and no matter what you do, you can't lose any more weight. Then you come off the diet and you get everything back. Yeah, because you've diminished your own metabolism. But also what it's doing to you when you lose lean muscle, which you are in every one of these diets, you're lowering your immune system. So you're making yourself unhealthy by going on these diets by counting calories. So the researchers knew that. They said, wait a minute, we need a new approach. What's the new approach? The researchers were going to find foods with higher levels of nutrition and still lower quantities. So for example, in her case, 30% of the food she consumed came from the grocery store, organic. And they gave her lists of proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving her calorie counts, they gave her serving sizes. Very important. Now, the researchers, what they were attempting to do, because they didn't know if it was going to work, so if you took your budget last month of food, you're only going to spend 30% on these foods that the researchers show you. The other 70% come from other researchers who had literally gone around the world for over 20 years. They'd gone to places like Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now they had the ingredients. Now what did they have to do? They developed the new pattern of eating, as they mentioned in the magazine right here. Powerful new eating pattern can take off weight faster than anything else you've tried. This is it. This is the secret that took them 40 years to figure out. So 70% of the food came from these exotic foods around the world, and 30% came from the grocery store. Then they invented 2 new ways of eating based on these new models. Remember, these models were not based on calorie counting. They were based on how much nutrition they had. So 5 days a week she was able to have, or you would have, 4 meals a day, everybody. 4 meals, starting with the world's most perfect meal for breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. That's called protein pacing. I'll explain that more in detail in just a moment, why the pacing is so important. Then 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not water fasting, not time-restricted eating. Don't jump to conclusions. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world, but this time they let her eat 8 times a day. She was literally eating every hour and a half. Now, why was that so critical? That's one of the things the researchers figured out, the pacing. It wasn't just like you're getting all this nutrition. It was how much, at what time intervals, over what period of time. They proved it. My gosh, they have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies, and she's a living example. 21 pounds and 38 inches in 30 days. Has anyone ever seen anything like that? The unit of energy required to heat 1 gram of water. Yes, you got it. So, well, you were on the other day. You looked it up. No, I'm kidding. I haven't been working out, but I've noticed my muscles all over getting more toned. Who else? My issue was metabolism, not my body is building muscle and holding on to healthy fat. You can absolutely build muscle. Yeah, you build muscle. Well, they proved it. As a matter of fact, they measured it. She gained 69% lean muscle mass with no exercise. Now, if you exercise, it's going to be even better because the researchers weren't against exercise, but they wanted to prove this protocol with no exercise, you could gain lean muscle mass, which is what they did. I mean, you see what happens to athletes on this. It's crazy what happens. No, it's not two different women. Absolutely not. No, you're totally wrong, Faye. Here's why. That's the daughter of a friend of mine. I don't need to do that. It's exactly the same woman. The fact you don't think it is, that's great. It proves my point. She lost 60 pounds in 3 months, and look at the transformation in the way she looks. I know her. She's a friend. Okay? I'm not going to fake out somebody's friend. Oh, great. Really? What an idiot. You know, that's the problem with people like you coming on, and you got to come on and say something stupid like snake oil. See, when someone makes a crazy comment like that, we have 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies that absolutely shuts down any comment like that. They don't have any clue what they're talking about, okay? None, zero. So, anyway, Faye, it's the same woman, okay? So let's see, you absolutely build muscle. I make some vids and tag you in them since I'm an example you can use. Regina, we'd love to have you before and after. But Regina, do you believe it's the same woman based on what your experience and what you've seen? Do you believe it's the same woman? Because it is. Why would we? Okay, what do you think? I faked the cover of Women's World? The daughter lost 50 pounds in 3 months and the mom lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off for 2 years. The #1 women's magazine in the world, Snake Oil, my foot. What a bunch of nonsense. See, it's just ridiculous. People come on and they give opinions. They don't have any facts, but opinions, they're easy to come by, okay? Now let's keep going. Let's look at Curtis, everybody. Look at this, everybody. 40.8 pounds, 52.5 inches in 30 days. 30 days. But look at his blood work, right? Yeah, totally. Regina believes it's the same person, okay? So, Faye, it's the same person. Okay, delete the message. See you later, Paul. Whatever you're talking about, just go away, okay? He's baiting you. It's okay. Dan, I'm not gonna tolerate people that are idiots coming on here and making comments with not one shred of medical evidence. Okay, it's just total horse manure. I'm a researcher, 23 years of research. I was on PBS 20 different times. Everybody, I wrote 4 best-selling books. Some of the biggest medical doctors in the world. I've lectured in hospitals and medical schools. I've done 1,500 lectures around the world. Spoke twice at Autism One, the biggest autism conference in the world. I don't need some person giving me an opinion about snake oil when they have no credibility whatsoever, no background, nothing. Zero, 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 zero. Seismic. Oh, okay, really. See another idiot coming on here. So let's just horse manure. See, they think they can do this. They can't do it. Because again, what we have going for us is peer-reviewed human trial studies, and on the cover of the #1 women's magazine in the world, Women's World. So he can breathe in, bro. Look at the man breath in his gut like he's visiting his wife. No, I'm not going to allow you to say that, okay? So you're going to get, it was nice talking to you, though. Nice talking to you. Goodbye. The reviews are false. Yeah, sure they're false. What an idiot! Just idiots. I'm going to ignore them from now on. The point is that you all can go and see the medical evidence, the actual peer-reviewed human trial studies. Sir Motgard, bro. I'm not your bro. Don't call me bro. I have no idea who you are, and I don't want to know who you are. So just let's dispense with the bro. If you think you can come on and you can somehow intimidate me, you're wrong. Because the thing I have going that you don't, I have 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies published in the biggest medical journals in the world by the top-rated weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. That certainly is not these people making those kind of comments. So the lady with the blonde hair is not related to the other woman. Yes, it's a daughter. Let me just tell you. Why would you come on and make stupid statements like that? Just just go away, okay? Just go away. We don't have time for that. I coach these two people. What do you think? What do you think? It's a different daughter? People are crazy. They can't believe they can't. Don't let your lying eyes believe what you see. And these are sustainable. You cannot argue with science. Let's face it. I had tried everything. Oh my gosh, Cynde she's on here from the magazine. That's her commenting. Cynde, these are sustainable results. You can't argue with science. Let's face it. I had tried everything. Oh, there we go. It's not because we how do I just block him totally? Let's see, toggle Q, use actions. Let's see. Who's this person? System and Bogue. I interviewed these two women. Cynde, are you here? Cynde, come on and shut this idiot up, claiming they interviewed you and they're not the same woman. The medical evidence is right there. It's right there, you idiot. Go to the website, the new healthcare. You're done. You're done. You're just done, you idiot. What idiots? What's idiots? Okay, come on. Now I'm going to bring the actual person on. Let's get the end of this nonsense. Cynde, did you hear the outrageous comment this fool is making? You're not related. He said that you're not related. Cynde does not want to talk to you. Really? She knows you falsified this information. Wait, let's blow it up so we can see Cynde. Okay, everybody. I mean, can you imagine this person saying this? Hold on, it's going to blow you up. Okay, Cynde, now you should be on live here. Okay, all right. So it's System Bolget. Cynde does not want to talk to you. She knows you falsified this information. What did he? Right, right. Well, I thank you for coming on, and there's lots of people on here now. We've got TM Money, we have, let's see, TM Money, we have, well, Regina Lux, she's having great results. So would everybody like to say hello? Say hello to Cynde. You're actually talking to the person in the blue dress here, nature. Oh, he's also saying, they're saying you're 53 years old since you're 57. Okay. I think this is a bot. Oh, it was two different people. See, it's got to be a bot. We know it's a bot. It's just ridiculous. But how cool is, oh, hello, Cynde. We understand it's tempting to lose weight. However, we know you didn't agree to this. What a bunch of, it's a bot. I'm sure it's a bot. I mean, just crazy. People, this is the actual person. This is actually the person in the magazine. We're talking to her. Do you see how idiotic this is? It's either a bot or somebody that's out of their mind. I think it's probably a bot. That's my opinion. But Cynde, so I know you've got to go to work, but share with everybody, and then I promise there's lots of people that want to know team money, et cetera, how you did what you did. But please tell them why it's so important. Right. All right, Cindy, thank you very much. I know you have to get to work. She is a nurse. She's going to nursing, et cetera. I'm going to explain to you exactly what they did in the medical trials backed up. Cindy, thank you so much, okay? Bye. I know, bye-bye. Say goodbye. All right, so TS Money, you've been, and also Dean, I know you were patient, but that's a rare opportunity. We eat protein, organic, and use nutrients, so curious how. TM Money, you're not doing anything like this, so let me explain to you exactly what's involved here, okay? What's involved, what's involved here is really pretty simple, not simple, complicated. So the people who invented this are the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. 100 studies, 40 years, thousands of people, they prove that diets just don't work. Counting calories is the dumbest thing that anybody could ever do, although somebody did get pretty much what is a calorie? A calorie is the amount of heat it takes to raise a gram of water 1 degree Celsius. That's it. Why are you counting calories when your body has no idea what a calorie even is, right? But the bottom line is that what you can do is what the researchers did. They said the problem with diets is really pretty simple. A diet has nothing to do with counting calories. What it has to do with is when you go on a diet, you reduce the amount of food you're consuming, but at the same time, what are you lowering? Nutrition. So the researchers, not me, them, they put together food lists, proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits, and they gave the Cynde and her mom, or in Kristen's case right here, they gave her serving sizes, not the number of calories. And so what they did, that was 30% of what she bought at the grocery store, was only 30% of what she spent last month. The other 70% went to these other researchers who'd gone around the world, to Russia, Mongolia, to Tibet, South America, New Zealand, to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition and not huge amounts of quantity. So again, what was their goal? Could we give people less food but increase nutrition? So Dean and TS Money and everybody, that was the thing, okay? Now, Team Money, I'm going to explain to that why your whole thing about eating protein, I'm going to blow it to smithereens, because it's going to probably shock you when I tell you. So the researchers now had the foods, right? 30% from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods around the world, all right? Now, what they were able to do was then create 2 new ways of eating based on this new model. So Dean and TS Money, here's what they did. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with essentially these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list the researchers put together, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods around the world. So 5 days a week, she was having 4 meals a day. And the key was the pacing of it, when she ate, how much she ate. That's why it was called protein pacing. It's actually patented by the U.S. Patent Office, okay, this protocol, patented, all right? Then 2 days a week out of 7, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not time-restricted eating, not water fasting. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods around the world. But this time, they let her eat 8 times a day. Yep, she was eating about every hour and a half. Well, look at the results, everybody. Look at that, 21 pounds, 38 inches in just 30 days. Now, let me show you the next person here, Julie. She lost 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at the change in her body composition. It's not photoshopped. It's the actual photos, period, end of the story, not made up. And then this is the daughter of a friend of mine that everybody keeps telling me it's a different woman, a different ethnicity. No, she's my friend. She's my friend's daughter. We don't need to Photoshop this. We have way more credibility than to do something that ridiculous. With nutrition, intermittent fasting, big difference from standard intermittent fast. Cindy's saying that. I feel so satisfied now, not feeling deprived at all. Cindy's saying that. Okay, so T Money, I'm going to explain to you about the protein in a moment. But let me go back to her. The key here, fake. See, I know it's a bot. It's not a human being. Fake my foot. So what they did, these people were not allowed to exercise. They actually wore Fitbits to prove they weren't exercising. And the reason they didn't want exercise was not because they're against exercise, but they didn't want exercise to be an outlier, like part of this. So what they did, they were able to get people to follow this protocol. And they didn't know if it was going to work, but look at the results, okay? And keep in mind, unlike the trolls over there, there's 10 peer-reviewed human trial medical studies published in the biggest medical studies in the world. And so the bottom line is that, we do have people that want to disrupt things because they don't, and they have no scientific background. They have no proof whatsoever. Now let's talk about TS Money about protein. One of the biggest myths around protein, if you go to my TikTok, you'll see on there, I think there's 100,000 hits, the myth around protein. So let me give you a short thing about the protein itself. Now, although protein was part of what they consumed, right? They had protein, they had fats, they had carbs, they had vegetables, and they had fruits, serving sizes. But here's what you don't probably know about protein. Protein itself is actually a poison to the body. It's a poison. And the problem is with the protein, the good and the bad. Protein is the only way you get 9 essential amino acids and 11 non-essential, a total of 20 amino acids. And when you ingest protein, what the body has to do is break open the protein and extract all 20 amino acids. So that would sound good, except in Europe, about 9 years ago, they developed a new test. It's called net nitrogen utilization. Well, in English, what it means is when you ingest protein, you get all 20 amino acids, but they can now measure the amount of the protein, the amino acids that are actually being used by our genes. Well, shockingly, when this is where you're off, say money, etc. Okay, not you're off. You didn't make anything wrong, but the idea of ingesting like 120 grams of protein and you're getting 120 grams of protein is false, because when they measured, the only matter of an amino acid that matters in protein is amino acids, and what they were able to do. Just so the participants have not put weight on because their lives are tied to man. No, British man, I'm sorry, you're totally wrong. You don't get it. You don't get it. I eat pizza, I drink, I do all kinds of things. No, once you get to maintenance, it's a whole different ballgame. So I appreciate your opinion, but it's not true. So let me finish about the protein. So MS Money, I think it is, it was talking about you eat protein. So when they measure the amount of protein, the amount of amino acids from, let's say, a plant-based protein, 0 to 100, it's only 15%. When they looked at all animal proteins, meat, chicken, liver, whatever it was, it's only 30%. Okay? So the protein you're getting, if it's from an animal, you're only getting 30% of the amino acids. These researchers found a protein source where the absorption of the amino acids is 91%, the highest absorption of amino acids ever tested on planet Earth. That's why these people with no exercise gain lean muscle, because one of the amino acids you need that's a primary factor in building muscle in the morning is called leucine. So imagine you could eat 3 steaks, and you'd need to eat 3 steaks to get, say, as much as 1 serving of this protein that they found from the far reaches of the world. That's at 91% absorption. What was their key? They were going to give you less food by quantity, but more nutrition. And you have to understand that it's only during this initial time period when they started, 5 days a week, they were doing 4 meals a day. Exotic foods around the world for breakfast, lunch from the grocery, dinner from the grocery, a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. And then 2 days a week, they did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, where she was eating 8 times a day, no food from the grocery store, only these servings from around the world. Once you get the maintenance, it's 1 serving of the exotic foods and 2 regular meals, and then maybe every couple months do another 48 hours. Once you get the maintenance, then you can have pizza and spaghetti and but what they proved in the studies, it was so phenomenal. People's hunger went down 41%. In 2 weeks, pretty much all their cravings were gone. So although I appreciate your comments, it's not what you maybe have been told or what you've seen. Look, you have to understand, all of you, including British Man, this is backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies by the researchers that have rated the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world for more than 40 years, 100 studies, thousands of people. They figured this out and they proved it, and it's backed by medical studies. That's what's so great about it. So, I mean, initially, yes, the portion size, and I love that you said that, portion sizes, because the human body has no idea what a calorie is. Calorie is just a measurement. It's a bunch of nonsense. And we're all counting, I'm not, but people are counting calories on these diets. And now the major people, let me read to you some of the medical proof. Here's Harvard Medical School about counting calories. Title, Stop Counting Calories. Most people have been taught that losing weight is a matter of simple math. Cut calories 3,500, you lose a pound. But as it turns out, experts are learning that this decades-old strategy is totally misguided. Harvard Medical School. The idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong, says Fatima, Stanford obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said. It's time to concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. That's what these researchers did. They have no relationship to Harvard. But let's go and look at some more studies, okay? This one titled, Why You Shouldn't Count Calories. That's the title of the study. It says, our researchers showed that the truth is calorie counting is a terrible approach for weight loss. While counting calories and restricting calories can help you lose weight in the short term, the approach has never been proven to keep weight off long term. What's even worse, 2/3 of people who try to count or restrict calories gain back more weight than they lost. They go on to say, counting calories increases chronic psychological stress and cortisol production, 2 factors that are known to cause weight gain. The last one I'm going to read from is from Medicare. Medicare, okay? Not my opinion. I'm not giving you opinions. Title of the article, Medicare's Search for Effective Obesity Treatments. Diets are not the answer. That's Medicare saying this. They said, our researchers reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies show that 2/3 of dieters regain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. There you go. Not my opinion. So I think I don't sell anything, by the way. 10 studies is not enough to prove a theory. You need to prove this over 1,000. Sounds like this is, no. The studies were started 13 years ago, and they were done, British man, by the top absolute weight loss, rated the top people in the world. So if there's anybody better than them, it doesn't, I mean, you can't go higher than that. I appreciate your opinion, but you're just, no, you're wrong, okay? Hell, I lost 40 pounds in 7 weeks 23 years ago. I've kept it off for 23 years. Have you ever done that? Any of you? I mean, look at these people. I mean, it's just crazy. Look at this older gentleman, 40.8 pounds fit. By the way, that picture's 9 years old. He's kept the weight off now for 9 years. We're changing people's lives, not giving people opinions. That's a problem. We have all these opinions with no facts. My God, now there's 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. That's not enough? Really? Really? And Johns Hopkins Medical School in the United States just came out and said, study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030. 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in 4.5 years. Does that sound like diets are working any? My God, Medicare said diets don't work. This does. This does. So let's see. So anyway, British man, I mean, again, I don't want to, look, British man, I'm not giving you my opinions, okay? I don't give you opinions, but, you know, I got a little bit of background, right? I did 20 shows on PBS, public broadcasting. I've been interviewed on the 4 biggest daytime shows in America. I did 1,500 live lectures around the world, including in medical schools and hospitals and towns. They even flew me to China. And I spoke twice at Autism One in Chicago, the largest autism conference in the world. So somebody thinks that my research is valid. Plus, I did discover a medical syndrome that's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office, called TDOS. T for toxicity, D for nutritional deficiency, O for being overweight, S is for stress. It's a registered trademark, U.S. Patent Office. I was one of the adapters screaming, we're ingesting these chemicals and they're doing things to us. That syndrome is real, and you have it, and I have it, and every person in the world. And in these studies, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, proving that this was assisting the body and helping the body remove chemicals from the body. It's the main reason to do it. The weight loss is like a throw-in. If you look at his stomach, the problem is that what the body's doing to protect us, once the liver can't handle these chemicals anymore, then the body takes the chemical and stuffs it in our fat cells. That's why these people complain not just about how much weight they've gained, but all the fat on their body as our body is evolving to try and protect us from all these crazy chemicals that are in our world. It's not something I made up. It's something that this is the research now, right? So the point is that you all have an incredible opportunity if you want. You can go to the medical, it's right there, the New Health Conference. We won't contact you. If you go to that website, we're not contacting any of you, okay? Just understand. How do we start? I appreciate your science. T-Money. Look at above the magazine article. Can you see it there, right? So is the plan in the women's magazine. No, Teen Longo 160. You go, it's not just a plan, it's way more complicated than that. And you look right there, look, the new health conversation, that's where you can go for free. And right above it, free coaching. It's free coaching. You've never done anything like this before. How you do it is probably more important than what you're going to be consuming. The coaching's free. The other thing I should tell you, 30%, if you took last month's food budget, 30% you'd spend at the grocery store. Only 30% of what you spent last month. The other 70% all but pays for these superfoods, they're beyond superfoods, these nutrients that come from all over the world. Well, those suppliers, 70% of what you spend, you don't think this is real? 100% money back guarantee. It's right on the site. Go to the site. We don't sell you anything. They're offering you 100% of your money back in the first 30 days. How could they do that if it didn't work? Why are they confident? Because those were the foods they used in these medical studies. I mean, everybody else is just giving me opinions. That's what they're doing. They're giving me opinions. I mean, by the way, British man, this is now over 500,000 people have done this with our help over the last 23 years. Is that a big enough sample for you? 500,000? And the majority of the people are keeping the weight off. My God, the studies, some of them were started in 2012, 13 years ago. They've monitored the people. They've kept their weight off now for 13 years. We don't need any more proof. The proof is in the pudding, as we say in the United States. And I'm not sure, when you say British man, I'm assuming you're in the United Kingdom, or maybe not, or maybe in the States. It's fine. It's good. Welcome to America. You see the problem. How do we start? T-Money, again, is the plan. Well, okay. I'm at the website. Thank you. Yeah, T-Long. Now, T-Long, understand, we're not going to contact you. Do you get that? Do you get we're not going to contact you? Only if you like what you see, scroll down, and then you get a free coach, and they'll explain everything to you. They'll get your food list. They'll show you how to order directly from the suppliers, not from them. There's nothing to order. Now, also, I didn't share with all of you, the researchers developed, it's called the Blueprint for Success, which you would get for free as well. And these yellows here are all daily videos explaining to you why it works, how it works, why it's safe, and including even here, I think you can read it, there's a recommended food list you get, also the recommended schedules, and then those little squares you see on the calendar, those are daily videos from the top researchers in the world. And it's, I know it sounds good to be true. What's your risk? Your risk is you're going to follow the herds and believe what all these other people are telling you that have not one shred of medical evidence, not one shred. And that's who people are following. Well, it's up to you. You have a free website you can go to, right? Yeah, Dean, isn't that cool? And look, Dean, are you looking at the website? There's nothing to buy there. Tell the people there's nothing to buy on that website. Nothing. We don't have to convince you. We're not going to convince you. We're not going to sell you. But go look at the medical proof for yourself and see what you think. We're not going to reach out to you. I don't care. We're not doing that. We don't have enough time. We don't have enough coaches. We want you to see the medical proof. Then you make it. There's an interview with the #1 weight loss nutrition physiologist in the world, the #1 person. And what does he say? They'll never recommend any form of traditional diet ever again. They said it would be unethical. They have the proof now, medically proven. This is changing the world. It's made every diet obsolete. Who would argue the fact if John Hopkins is saying study predicts obesity apocalypse by 2030, 86% of Americans are going to be overweight or obese in less than 4.5 years? Does that sound? And then you've got people like Medicare. Where is it? Medicare. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. The research reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether dieting is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of all dieters regain more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. Why are you listening to people giving you opinions about calories in, calories out, diet and exercise, 10,000 steps, drink more water, They're nice people. I'm not going to disparage them. But if what they were talking about was that good, wouldn't they have at least one peer-reviewed human trial study? At least one? They don't have any. And yet you're following them. I know you are. I see how many people are following them, millions sometimes. But what are they following? Nonsense, hot air, dog water. When Harvard Medical School says stop counting calories, okay, that's good enough for me. Maybe not for some of the other people, but you got to understand, for about 20 some years of my research, despite having wrote 4 best-selling books, some of the top medical doctors in the world, and tons of people, there's no comparison. No one in the medical world would take a look at this until these peer-reviewed human trial studies came out. Actually, the daughter, the nurse right here in the blue, you can see her, she's a nurse. I knew her for a long time. She wanted nothing to do with this until 2 people want to join. Let me see if I can pull this off. Okay, let's see if it works, because I had trouble with this before. I guess not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not that I'm excluding you. Anyway, so like, share, follow me. Like, share, follow. Tap on the screen. Oh, here we go. Here comes Regina, and here comes Dan. Accept. Hopefully you're both on. Let me just see. Okay, you both should be on. Hello, Regina. Hello, Dan. Wonderful. So, Regina, so fill us in. How you doing? Okay. Yeah, we're getting big echo time. You don't seem to be echoing, Dan. So great, thank you, thank you. Lot of disruptors out there, disruptors. I know. Regina, you're back. You're echoing like crazy. I don't know what. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me mute Dan. Let me try that. Wait a second. Okay, I just muted Dan. See if that works. Go ahead, talk. Oh, there you go. All right, we got rid of the echo. Dan, I promise I'll come back to you. So go ahead, fill us in. Fill us in. Mm-hmm. Well, you're building lean muscle, which we've got people over here questioning the studies, et cetera. But you don't need to question a study. You see what's going on in your own body. And we have irrefutable medical proof where the men and women in the studies were not allowed to exercise, and yet they gained 6 to 9% lean muscle mass, low no water. And like I tell people all the time, and I think you've been on some of my lives before, where I say, this is not about weight loss. Don't even do this to lose weight, because someone like you comes along who wants to gain weight. We got kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old doing this. We have people with no thyroids. We have a guy with a heart transplant. We have people with no gallbladders. And obviously you saw, did you heard Cynde? She was on, the nurse, the 57-year-old, 50 pounds in 3 months, and she's talking from a medical perspective. They've tried everything. Her mom's 80, lost 90 pounds in 9 months. You trying to tell me there's any diet on planet Earth like that? And then people are coming on and questioning, we only have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Let me ask you something. In your whole life, if you've ever been on exercise diet, has anyone ever showed you a peer-reviewed human trial study before now? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. 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 Because you were toxic. Because you were toxic. At 35 years old, you shouldn't be having that kind of stuff going on. And I mean, it's just, I'm so thrilled for you. See, I understand the doubters, I understand the skeptics, because they keep trying to compare this to anything anyone's ever done before. You're proving this is like nothing you've ever done before. Am I correct? Right, 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 right. Oh, there you are. I had you covered up. I'm sorry. Now I can see Dan. I just had to move the screen down a little bit. Hello. Nice to meet you, actually. And there's Dan and Medi. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. We're just gonna have a great time here. But so honestly, what would you tell the skeptics? Because you had to be skeptic when you started. I tell everybody, if you're telling me you're not skeptical, you're not being truthful. Because it sounds too good to be true. Am I right? Sounds way too good to be true. Good, good. Right. Wow. Right. Wow. Wow. Well, yeah, that's horrible, horrible, just horrible. But I mean, so what has impressed you so much about the R2M protocol and the system and the coaching? And I mean, let me phrase it differently. People keep wanting to challenge me and want me to give them like a 10-second answer, get on with it, fill it in, etc. Do you agree that it's so worth it to take a little bit of time to learn about the science, etc.? Like, for example, obviously you're following the blueprint for success, right? And just tell them about the videos with these world-class experts that are telling you things you just never knew before. These are the top people in the world. Am I right? The top people in the world. Correct. Right. 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 It, listen, it almost feels too good to be true. Shameless plug for me, everybody. Shameless plug for me. My book. I know. I know. I had no idea you were going to be on today. We've never really met before. I've never seen you in person, so I don't know what to tell you. But I think keep going because I think it's really important that people understand from someone who should be skeptical based on your life experience and what didn't work. Why all of a sudden is this going to work, right? How did I know that? Right. Wow. I didn't realize that. That's a great, because so many people ask me how much is it, and I know someone's on there asking me what's the protocol. I promise, but this is such a great opportunity to have a live person doing that. Right, 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 right. I know. Right, 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 right. Yep. Right, 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 right. Hmm. Right, right, right. Well, it's just wonderful. I would just say thank you very, very much. I'm going to mute you. I'm going to let Dan come on. But I think before I do that, Dan, oh, please come on again. I'm honored to have you, but more importantly, I'm happy to celebrate your success, that big smile and whatever. I mean, the fact that you're feeling so great and all those things are better that's why we're doing this. It's not about, obviously you proved it. It's not about weight loss. You're trying to gain weight. So it's completely different, right? Right, 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 right. Right. All right. Well, thank you so much. So user 6811, I'm going to tell you the protocol that she's talking about. Isn't it interesting? She's doing it to gain weight and you may be doing it to lose weight. So let me give you the short version, then I'll bring Dan on. So the short version is it was invented by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world, as I mentioned before. And what they figured out, the whole concept behind counting calories is complete nonsense. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't count calories. So what your body relies on is a minimum amount of nutrition. And when you go on a diet, you're lowering the amount of food, which by definition, you're lowering what? Nutrition. When your brain senses there's not enough nutrition, it has nothing to do with calories. It freaks out, goes in starvation mode, stops you from burning the fat inside your cell, your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. Now, what that does, the body, because it's really inefficient to use your muscles to fuel your body begins, the brain slows down your metabolism. That's why people plateau on diets. That's why they gain all their weight back the minute that they stop. So the researchers said, we need to do something different. We're going to go select foods that have high quantities of nutrition and not high amounts, bulk of food, right? So they put together a food list that she's doing, that everybody's doing, where proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits, where these people are 30% of what they consume in a month. Let's take a look at Christine over here. There's an even better example. She lost 21 pounds, 38 inches in a month. Only 30% of what she consumed, though, she bought at the grocery store. So take your budget. She's saying she's saving money. That's what we just heard her say. She's saving money, right? But anyway, the other 70% is from these incredible nutrient-dense foods that come from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand, that represent huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. So now the researchers had what they were going to give people. But then what they did, they invented new ways of consuming the food. 5 days a week, that's what she's doing now, or Dan does, or any of these people. They had actually 4 meals a day. They started with these exotic foods around the world. That was breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner from these exotic foods from around the world. That's called protein pacing. It's actually patented. It's patented by the U.S. Patent Office. And the researchers who created this, they don't have any products. They don't sell anything. We don't sell anything. You don't buy anything from us. Because the other 70% of what she consumed comes from these researchers. You buy directly from them. So that's why it's so affordable. There's no middleman, what she's talking about. Okay, now they had, like I said, so 5 days a week, she's having 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, she did something called intermittent nutritional fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted eating. On those days, no food from the grocery store, only these nutrient foods from around the world. And now they had her eating 8 times a day. She was eating 8 times a day. And look at the results. Now, I want to clarify something. The key to this is once you get to your goal, whatever that is, either gaining weight or losing weight or whatever it might be, then maintenance is simple. It's here's the point. If you could put the world's most perfect meal in your body once a day for breakfast, wouldn't you do it? That's what I do every day. And then I eat 2 normal meals, and then maybe every couple months I do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. That's what she's talking about. That's the protocol. So it's not just about you losing the weight initially. And you heard her talk about, my God, her energy went through the moon. She couldn't gain weight. She went to all doctors. She was running tests. She did water fast. She tried everything. Nothing worked. Well, why? It didn't work because she didn't have enough nutrition. And even if you do organic in this country, 200 studies prove organic is slightly better than regular food, but only a little bit better. And the reason to eat organic is less polluted. So the researchers dealt with organic food. That's why they limited her. Only 30% of what she consumed came from foods in the United States. This would have never worked with 100% of the food from organic food, even in this country. That's why these other researchers were so damned important. They had gone for 20 years to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And also they found people that were living to be 100 years old and didn't get sick because of, and some of these nutrients that you would take on this, they're not available in North America. You can't, it's not like they're in Kansas or Nebraska or Illinois. No. So you're not going to get down to your grocery store and get anything like this. That's why they limited the amount of food she consumed and everybody else, 30% from proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But they didn't give her calories. They give her serving sizes. That's what she was talking about. Very, very important. You got that? So that's I have a physically demanding job, walking 20 steps a day. Can I? Oh God, yes, dark side warrior. Oh, all kinds of people can do it. All right. So I'm going to bring Dan on briefly here just to, and then hopefully that made sense to you, user, about what to do. Okay, hold on just 1 second. Let me, I'm going to unmute. Hold on. Okay, Dan, you're unmuted. You should be okay with no, Regina, hang in there. Go ahead, Dan. What would you have to share with everybody based on what I just said? And is Regina's story not unbelievable, Dan? And you've been doing this for over 20 years. Like Regina, I do remember. So Regina, there you have an ally. She gained 7 pounds. His wife was a prominent gastroenterologist. Where do you hear this story about what happened? Go ahead, Dan. So is she. Right here. No, we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, or making any medical claims. This is your story. This is physically what happened to you. I witnessed it. I saw it. So everybody be very clear. We're not talking about treating, curing, diagnosing, preventing any diseases. This is his story. So continue, Dan. Yep, I was. Yep, 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 yep. Really? That's right. In the medical studies. It's proven in the medical studies. Right. Correct. That's right. Correct. Yep. Yep. Right. Yep. Right. Yes. And right. Right. Yeah, it was published, just so you all know, in Nature Communications, the #1 medical journal in the world. So all these people coming on and say, oh, you only have 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. Well, one of them is in the top medical journal in the entire world. And look, I understand, and both of you understand, we're fighting against a massive myth of people. The key to everything is we all need to face the fact. Regina, did you see that like 5 weeks ago? They came out, they're now finding microplastics in our brain and in our coronary arteries. Did you see that study? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as Dan said, I've been the canary in the coal mine for years and years and years. And I would say this, that for 22 of my 23 years, Regina, you don't know that about me. But despite all that, what Dan talked about, I didn't. I don't like to blow my own horn. Um, but in the medical world, it meant zero. Let me give you one story, Regina. Dan knows this story. I had another good friend of mine. He's in San Francisco, runs one of the biggest cancer hospitals in San Francisco Bay Area. I've known her for, gosh, 15, 16 years. And she read my books and she always sort of pat me on the head and, oh, that's really nice, but there's nothing that I'd ever be interested in. Well, about 18 months ago, when these studies started to come out, I sent them to her. She literally called me the next day and said, oh my God. Anyway, to make a long story short, she's given me over 100 patients now in 18 months. Everything from, high blood pressure, diabetes, overweight, but also cancer patients. Because in cancer, one of the worst things that can ever happen, believe it or not, Regina, is they lose weight. Because the weight they're losing, sadly, is their lean muscle mass. And Dan knows this. He knew him. My younger brother in 2011 was diagnosed with kidney cancer. He had a tumor the size of a baseball wrapped around his spine. He had an 8-hour surgery, did chemo, radiation. He was 6'4". And in 8 months from the time he was diagnosed until he passed away, when he died, Regina, he weighed 115 pounds and he was 6'4". So I saw him waste away in front of my eyes. Now, I didn't know it. I hadn't written the book. I hadn't met the oncologist. So later when I learned, what Dan was saying is so right. Lean muscle mass is one of the most important components of boosting our immune system. It's so important. It's not just for energy, it's for really boosting the immune system. And also what you're showing, you're proving you had an absorbability issue, because the toxins, what we know, they are also like this glass wall preventing the absorption of nutrients. See, people don't understand, it's not what you drink or eat, it's what you absorb. That's why, for example, when you talk about typical protein, steak, chicken, liver, the absorption of the 20 amino acids that we need to be alive, 9 of them anyway, called essential. I mean, steak, chicken, liver, fish, you're getting 30%. So you'd have to eat 3 steaks to get the equivalent of 1 of those shakes that you're taking now at 91%. So this isn't just some arbitrary thing. See, the problem is that people are so inundated with this nonsense. They think this is another diet. They want me to explain to them about calories in, calories out, and diet and exercise and 10,000 steps and make a list and all that. It's just total nonsense. And Dan's living proof of that. It's the opposite. Right, right. Correct, correct. Well, the only reason we eat food, I mean, it tastes good, but the only reason you eat it is because of the nutrition in it. It's that simple. That's why when you go on diets and why they don't work, when you reduce the amount of food you're consuming, guess what else you're reducing? Nutrition. How the hell does anybody think that works? It doesn't. That's why you've got 80% of America overweight, 50% obese, and 50% pre-diabetic. Go ahead, Virginia. Regina. Okay? Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. No question. Of course. No, no. Well, you certainly had the perfect coach in Colin, because he can certainly relate, you know. And the thing is, look, we're not going to cure autism, but we can make them function better, as you probably know that Colin's already explained to you, etc. See, that's what I want people to get out of their minds. This is not a diet. And I hate diet, take the T off diet. That's the problem. And all the people, what I find so fascinating is people come on here, they hear this information, and they won't even go to the website and see the free medical proof to benefit them. Because there's nothing to buy on our website. There's nothing to buy there. It's like, no, get the knowledge. And then if you want to coach, you get someone like Dan, or you get someone like Colin. Effects, yes, yes, yes. Of course, of course. Right. So what's interesting, the two of you, go ahead, Dan. Yep, yep. No. Right. Community movement. It's a movement. Well, the podcast, but it's a movement, the new health conversation. And Anna and Bayview, I see you. I promise we're going to answer, but this is too important to have two live people that are going through this. Just to assure you, I promise Anna and Bayview, as soon as I think we're almost done with these two wonderful people sharing their experience, because it's a priceless opportunity to have that. I did not know they were going to be available. I didn't know they were going to be jumping on. Because on my podcast now, we got people all over the world that want to come on and share their experiences, like what Regina was saying. She needed to gain weight, not lose weight. So it's really wonderful that the two of you were here with us today. So anyway, I want to thank both of you so much. And then Anna and Bayview, I'm going to answer both of your questions. So all right. Bye. Have a great rest of your day, Dan. Regina, you can certainly hang around if you want to. So, Anna, what's the big lie and how do you remove toxins? Well, they're almost synonymous. So, the big lie, Anna, is the fact that diets just simply do not work. The idea of counting calories is complete nonsense. It's dog water. As a matter of fact, I'm going to just show you a couple of the big studies, starting with Harvard Medical School. Stop counting calories. This is Harvard Medical School, where they said the idea of a calorie in, calorie out when it comes to weight loss is not only antiquated, it's just wrong. This is Fatima Stanford, obesity specialist, Harvard Medical School. Drop the calories notion, Stanford said it's time to take a different approach, concentrate on what's in our food, not how much food we're consuming. Now, let's read one of the big study from Medicare, everybody. This is Medicare saying this. These aren't my opinions. Medicare's search for effective obesity treatments. Diets are not the answer. Our research reviewed studies of long-term outcomes of calorie-restricted diets to assess whether any diet is an effective treatment for obesity. The studies showed that 2/3 of dieters regained more weight than they lost on any diet. In summary, there's little support for the notion that diets lead to lasting weight loss or health benefits. So the biggest lie of all is calories in, calories out as a way to lose weight. It is going to make you unbelievably unhealthy. I'll get into that in a moment because I want to address how does this remove toxins from the body. This is not a diet. This is anything, it's a detox. And we have, the researchers did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis to prove it. The side benefit was this tremendous, unbelievable, safe weight loss that you all can see there in the picture. 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days. But the lady we had on, she's still on here watching us, by the way, Regina, she didn't want to lose weight. She wanted to gain weight. She had a problem with what's called malabsorption, where when she was eating food, the nutrients weren't getting to the various parts of her body. She's now gaining weight, has more energy, feels amazing. So let's talk about the basics of this, and we'll get into how it detoxes. So first of all, you all need to understand, last night, as long as you didn't eat too late, when you went to sleep, your body automatically slowed down digestion. And when that happens, your body automatically begins to detox. It's called autophagy. It's when the body gets rid of the dead cells, okay? So the researchers, they set out to prove, could we create autophagy when people were awake? Okay, it wasn't just they set out to show people they could lose weight and keep it off. It was this whole other option, right? So the first thing you need to understand that counting calories is ridiculous. The human body has no idea what a calorie is. It can't count calories. The only thing your body cares about is a minimum amount of what? Nutrition. When you go on these diets, you're lowering the amount of food, you're also lowering the amount of nutrition. And the problem with that is when the brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition, it freaks out, prevents you from burning the fuel in your fat cell, and turns to your muscles for fuel. That's two of the most unhealthy things you could ever do to yourself. One, yes, it slows down your metabolism. That's why you lose weight initially on these diets. Then it slows, then it stops, then you plateau, then you quit the diet, and you gain all your weight back. They said in the 2/3 of dieters end up weighing more than when they started. Well, it makes sense because you're losing lean muscle mass. It's slowing down your metabolism. But the other thing it's doing to you, it's also impacting your own immune system. It's literally making you unhealthy by going on these diets counting calories. So the researchers, here's what they did. They figured out, we're going to look for new food groups that we'll put together that represent large amounts of nutrition and not large amounts of food. So the idea was, can we still give you less food, ignore the food, ignore the calories, and give you more nutrition? So they put together a food list that you would take to the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But instead of giving you calorie amounts, they gave you serving sizes, calculated by the top weight loss nutrition physiologists in the world. But the other 70%, and this is what Dan, and if you were listening to what Regina was saying, these other nutrients, some of which don't even exist in the United States. It's not like they come from Kansas or Nebraska. So these other researchers had gone around the world for 20 years looking for these sources in Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. What were they looking for? Foods with huge amounts of nutrients, or nutrients, for example, that people were taking to live to be 100 years old. Okay, so that's what they had. So it's 30% of your food from the grocery store, 70% from these exotic foods around the world. Okay, now here's the key. Then they invented 2 ways of consuming the food, and we'll get into how that helps you to detoxify your body. 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with the world's most perfect meal, that was breakfast. Lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods around the world. That's called protein pacing. Very important. I'll explain the pacing to you in just a moment. So 5 days a week, you're having 4 meals a day. That's called protein pacing. 2 days a week, and here's where the detox comes in. They had 48 hours. She consumed no food from the grocery store at all. Only these exotic foods, but this time they let her eat 8 times a day. She was literally eating every hour and a half. Now, what they proved in the studies, they did blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis. And after those 48 hours, they were able to measure that the body was what's called mobilizing the toxins. It was pulling the toxins out of the fat cells and out of the body. But it wasn't this protocol doing it, it was our own body. So in essence, they were creating that same autophagy I talked about a minute ago while people were awake. It's not an opinion on my part. We have the medical proof to back it up. So they proved it was removing herbicides and pesticides and Scotchgard and Teflon and flame retardants from the body. It was a natural detox. See, here's the difference. I had someone challenge me yesterday. I get a lot of that. They want to challenge me. But I don't know why they're challenging me, because I only provide the scientific evidence. They told me about how on PubMed there's all these, commercial products that detox the body. Well, go and look yourself. June 15th, I looked at it. There wasn't one peer-reviewed human trial study of any commercial product detox. This one, there's 10. 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies proving that this is helping the body get rid of the toxins. So hopefully that answered your question, Bayview 123. And Anna, what the big lie is, the diets are nonsense. They don't work. Counting calories is dead. This is the new frontier. This is what's going to... What? Oh, that's such a wonderful thing to say to somebody. See you later, alligator. Anyway, to make a long story short, this is going to change the world. This makes every diet obsolete. Because look at this other person here. Wait a minute. Let me show you Julie. How about 35 pounds in 37 days, Anna or Bayview? 35 pounds in 37 days. Look at her body. Look at the composition. And the next picture, people definitely accuse me of faking it's a different woman. That's the daughter of a friend of mine. 60 pounds in 3 months. Look at her face, look at her arms, look at her body. People think it's a different person. It's the same person. I don't need to Photoshop my friend's daughter. Hello? We don't need to do that. And then look at Curtis, an older gentleman, everybody, 40.8 pounds, 40 pounds in a month and 52 inches. Least important part of it. Look at his blood work. A1C from 8.4 to 6.4 triglycerides, 242 to 124. Have any of you ever seen anything like that before, ever? What would it be? And the other thing, they've maintained the weight now for 8 or 9 years. This protocol, I didn't name it. They did the research. They called R2M, race to maintenance. The idea is to get you to goal and then teach you how to stay there. I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's better than that. And we just had 2 people on that just absolutely changed their lives. One person, she's still on there, I can see her. She wanted to gain weight. And she had a problem with absorbing nutrition, what a lot of people do, because we're so toxic inside. The toxins prevent or slow down the absorption of the nutrients. And if you're relying on food just from North America, our food in North America is all but almost nutritionally bankrupt. Let me give you an example. A bowl of spinach, the iron levels in spinach, Popeye's food. Cornell University did a study, 1953 to the year 2020. They said the iron levels in spinach have decreased, you ready for this, everybody, by 4,300%. Whoa, that means a bowl of spinach in 1953 today, you'd have to eat somewhere around 30 bowls of spinach to equal the nutrition. So and then we go on diets and lower the amount of food we're consuming, of food that's already almost nutritionally bankrupt. Is it any wonder why we lose lean muscle mass? Because that's what you do. That's the big lie. The biggest lie ever. If any of these people tell you it's about calories in, calories out. No, it's not. It's totally debunked. And these top researchers, they proved it. They got people losing weight in a month with no loss of water, no exercise, gaining 6 to 9% lean muscle mass with no exercise. Now, the researchers weren't against exercise. Why did they do that? Because they wanted to isolate. They wanted to make sure that exercise wasn't part of this. Otherwise, you say, well, he lost weight because it was diet and exercise. No, he didn't. So anyway, Anna and Bayview, if you're still here, does that make sense? Or do you want me to elaborate even more on what I just shared with you? So I'll wait to see if anybody wants to comment. I see Chief Fraley's on here. I see Eric's on here. Now, for all of you, just let me, before I forget, this is really important. Yes, Bayview. So Bayview, look, give me another yes, Bayview. Did you find that helpful? Do you understand? But Bayview, understand it's not my opinion. It's backed by 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. So Bayview, what I want you to see, Bayview, is right above the article. And by the way, I did coach these 2 women. The daughter's 57-year-old nurse. She lost 50 pounds in 3 months, Bayview. The mother is 80. She lost 90 pounds in 9 months. They both kept it off now. It's going to be 3 years in August, they were telling me. Because this actually, the nurse was on a little bit earlier today in the blue dress. So the idea is that you can go and see the medical proof for free, Bayview. We will not contact you. We will not contact you. But if you go there and you like what you see, notice right above, free coaching to ensure your success. Because Dan, who was on earlier, and Virginia, who's still with it, they're both getting coached. We don't let anybody do this because you don't know how to do it. Not that you're not smart. You've never done anything like this before. We got coached. We got coached. We're teaching you what you can do, right? Right. Well, Anna, address Anna and Bayview. Is it true that you got to go to the website, no one contacted you? You saw the medical evidence. What did you do? Tell them what you did. Free, right? Free, Virginia. Well, that's I can't accept the weight or gain the weight. In your case, you want to gain weight. So Bayview, does that right? So Bayview, that again, she's reinforcing. If you go to that website, we will not contact you. She saw what she liked and then she contacted us. So I want you to understand, any of you watching this is an actual person doing this. Okay, she's actually doing the protocol, but she didn't want to lose weight. She wanted to gain weight because she had a problem with absorption of nutrition. But the whole key was what you were asking me about how do you detox? The detox is what allowed her then for her body to absorb the massive amount of nutrition that's contained within this protocol. That's what makes it so different and so unique. Despite all our critics, go ahead. Yeah, great, great. Well, thank you so much, Regina. She's been on here with us. So Bayview, hopefully you will go. We're inviting you to go to that website, see what you like, and you can get a free consultation or not. There's no pressure. We will not contact you. And even when you talk to the coaches, they're not there to convince you or sell you. Like she was saying, we're there to educate you. We're there to answer your questions and guide you because you've never done anything like this. This is a lifestyle change. Like she said, it's like hitting a reboot, restart, do-over, whatever you want to call it. I know it sounds too good to be true. This is not a diet. If you're doing this just to lose weight, you're already on the wrong podcast. And these podcasts, just to let you know, it's now 4:45. Yeah, I can't believe 4:45 on the East Coast. So I'll probably do one more today, maybe around 6 o'clock on the East Coast. But would anybody else, before I close this out, would like to ask me a question? Or you can ask I'm sure Regina's still here. She'd even ask her a question for any of you. So Bayview or Anna or anybody that wants to ask a question, she's there. If not, we're going to wrap this up. So I'm going to give you about another minute. If anybody would like to ask a question, you can do it. Or we just invite you to go right above the magazine cover, the New Health Conversation. So would anybody else like to ask one last question? So Anna, hopefully I answered your question, what's the big lie? Everybody's afraid to answer questions. They think we're going to bite. We don't bite. It's all cool. It's all good. We're very excited about you being here, all of you, right? No. Right. Well, your pay as you're getting your health, which is the most important asset that any of us have. Our health is our wealth. And you had exhausted almost every option, right? Almost every type of thing. It wasn't like you weren't any health. Right. A solution. You're right. Right. Oh, we do have a question. So homestead how? Okay, I'm gonna do it very fast. I'm gonna go over it, but understand what we're talking about is not a diet. It's not about counting calories. The problem with all of these approaches today, and why we're projected to have 86% of Americans overweight and obese in 4.5 years, which sounds frightening to me, is because diets don't work and counting calories is the most ridiculous thing we've ever come up with. So homestead, I'm going to show you another picture here of a young woman. She lost 21 pounds, 38 inches in 30 days. It's not a diet. What did they do? The researchers figured out that the reason diets fail is we relied on counting calories, and the human body has no idea what a calorie even is. So homestead, what they did, they figured out this is not that dramatic. The body doesn't know what calories are. It doesn't count calories. It only cares about nutrition. When you go on a diet, you lower the amount of food, you're lowering nutrition. When the brain figures out there isn't enough nutrition to run all the organs, including the brain, it immediately stops accessing the fuel in your fat cell and turns to your muscles for fuel, slowing down your metabolism. That's why you gain all the weight back on all these diets. But the other thing it's doing to you by losing lean muscle, you're also lowering your own immune system responses. So these diets you're all on, they're making you unhealthy. I don't care what the hell diet you're on, pardon my French, that's true. So what the researchers said was, wait a minute, can we give people less food, but instead of working on calories, we're going to work on more nutrition. So they put together a food list that she consumed. Only 30% of what she consumed came from the grocery store. Proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits from North America, organic sources, only 30%. The other 70% come from other food groups that other researchers had gone around the world to Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand to find foods with huge amounts of nutrition, but small quantities of food. Remember, what was their goal? Can we give you less food, but increase the nutrition? All right, that's what they did. Then they created 2 new ways of consuming the food, because now they had new food based not on calories, but on nutrition. So 5 days a week, she had 4 meals a day. She started with these exotic foods from around the world. That was breakfast, lunch from the grocery store list, dinner from the grocery store list, and a 4th meal after dinner, these exotic foods from around the world. That's called protein pacing. It's actually patented by the U.S. Patent Office, to give you an idea. And the researchers who created it, they don't have any products. They don't sell anything. There are no products. You're going to buy food, 30% from the grocery, 70% from the foods from around the world. So like I said, 5 days a week, 4 meals a day. 2 days a week, you're going to do something, what she did, if you do this, it's called intermittent nutritional fasting. Not fasting, not water fasting, not time restricted. In those days, no food from the grocery store, only these exotic foods from around the world. But this time, she had them 8 times a day. She was literally eating every hour and a half. We had people on here that weighed 500 pounds. They weren't hungry. In a month's time, people's hunger had gone down by 41%, and within a couple of weeks, all their cravings were gone. Now, keep in mind, it's not a diet. We actually have a woman on here who wanted to gain weight. We'll talk to her in just a moment, but I want to go through just so you understand, Homestead, what they did. Now, the other cool thing about this, the picture is about 8 years old. They kept the weight off for 8 years. Now, let me explain to you about maintenance, because that's the only reason to do it. You have one meal a day, the exotic foods, and then 2 normal meals from the grocery list or whatever list you want. And then every couple months, do another 48-hour intermittent nutritional fast. So, Regina, since you're still here, just come on and tell them you did not want to lose weight. It was not a weight loss deal for you. It was the opposite. Subcutaneous fat. Well, and you're only what, 34 or something. Yeah, right. So, Denise, I know you're asking what type of foods. You didn't hear me explain that. So, you get a grocery list that she got: proteins, fats, carbs, vegetables, and fruits. But we give you, instead of calorie counting, we're giving you serving sizes. But the key to it, Denise, is the majority of the food that you're eating on this doesn't come from the United States. It comes from Russia and Mongolia and Tibet and the Himalayas, South America, New Zealand. They represent huge amounts of nutrition and nutrients that don't even exist in this country. So part of the healing crisis with Regina was, she said she tried everything. She did water fast. She did everything. Didn't lose any inches because she didn't have the, how can I explain it to you? The fuel in order to allow her body to begin to remove the toxins. You have to understand, I developed, this was her book she was talking about. Shameless plug for me, everybody. I wrote this book called TDOS Syndrome, which is a pretty famous book. Toxicity, deficiency, overweight, and stress. I was one of the first people in the world to be screaming about, wait a minute, we're storing chemicals in our body. How can that be a good thing? Well, in the studies, they proved that this, through blood, stool, urine, and fat analysis, was assisting her body, my body, everybody's body, in removing the chemicals. So once you began to remove the chemicals, what it allowed her to do was to absorb the huge amounts of nutrition that didn't come primarily from food in North America. It came from the far reaches of the world, from Russia, Mongolia, Tibet, South America, New Zealand. And so here's an incredible example. She's 35 years old. She has 6 kids. And she doesn't have really any, her fat is shrinking, but it's also, she's building muscle. And she lifts weights and works out. So this is not just some typical person, but she didn't even do it to lose weight. And that's what I tell people all the time. Don't do this to lose weight. That's kind of a throw-in. But if you need to, because look, Virginia, we got, Regina, we got people, we have kids as young as 2 doing this. We have a lady 91 years old. We have people with no thyroids. We have people with a heart transplant, no gallbladders, and we're not treating, curing, diagnosing, making any medical studies. And on the cover of this month's June 9th, Women's World, the #1 women's magazine in the world, I coached both of these women. We had the daughter on she's a nurse, about an hour ago, and she lost 50 pounds in 3 months. The mom, who's 80, lost 90 pounds in 9 months, and they both kept it off now. It'll be 3 years in August. This is nothing like this on the planet. And a perfect example was Regina. Wow, go for it, Regina. Correct. It's all healthy. Correct. Right. Right. Well, that's why when you, right, that's why when you look at Curtis, that's an older gentleman, 40 pounds, 52 inches in 30 days. But look at his blood work. His A1C in 30 days went from 8.4 to 6.4. Triglycerides from 242 to 124. That shouldn't happen when you're older like that. Look at his stomach, how much it went down. Can you see that picture? Yeah, look at his, yep. I know. I just noticed that. Yeah, yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, I know. Well, it's the first time I even recognize, I get it. But the other thing, in the medical studies, see, here's the other thing. We have the medical proof. Insulin, the need for insulin in the diabetics came down 41% in a month. They measured it, the medical doctors. This isn't something we made up. My gosh, you can go to the website and see the medical proof. That's the difference between this and any other thing out there. There's no other diets out there with 10 peer-reviewed human trial studies. It's so cool. It's just so invigorating. I mean, empowering, exciting, etc. I mean, it's really great. It's really great. So hopefully, Homestead, that answered your question. And Homestead, if you want to know more, you can see it. I'll type it in the chat for you. This is the website you can go to for free. We won't contact you, but if you like what you see, you can scroll down and you can get a free coach. As Regina has a coach. Everybody has a coach. I had a coach initially. I'd never done anything like this before. So, of course, it was, I was a little bit sort of curious, was it going to really work? So there it is, the new health conversation. I put it in there for you twice, Homestead. Did I spell it right? I did. All right, well, everybody, that's it. I'm almost at 2 hours. My voice is about gone. So, oh my gosh, Regina, thank you so much. Are you going to be on our Thursday night call? Because I'd love you to update everybody. Okay. All right. No, we'll take backseat to the priest. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. And Denise, there's nothing to call. Denise, she's on, I will call and get more information. No, Denise, what you want to do is go to the website right there, the New Health Conversation, and watch the medical proof. And then, if you like, scroll down and you get a free coach. Because like Regina says, she's getting coached. Everybody gets coached. The coaching is really an important part of this whole process, Denise, just so you know. And she said, but there's no phone numbers. We won't contact you either. The only way we'll contact you is if you contact us, okay? All right, well, thanks. I'll see you then Thursday night, I'm sure, Regina, okay? I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for you. Probably not as happy as you are for yourself, right? Right? Good. Great. All right, well, thank you so much. Bye. All right, you sure will. Bye-bye, everybody.